If you're in your 40s hoping to get pregnant, you may be feeling some time pressure. Today, we're talking about what you can do to help you get there faster and what might slow you down. If you're here with me live, please type in the chat. Let me know where in the world are you? And if you don't mind sharing, do you feel any time pressure and what is your age? Whatever you feel comfortable sharing, it'll help me get to know who is here with me live so I can speak directly to you. I'm Dr. Natalie Masson, and I'm a psychologist specializing in the mind-body connection. Here at Fertility from the Soul, I'm helping women along their pathway to pregnancy, especially in their 40s. I had my own children well into my 40s, and it's a privilege for me to be able to guide other women on this journey. So let me know in the chat if you're here with me. Lily is here from Germany. Lily is my second daughter's name. I'm partial to that name. Jill from Charlotte. Wonderful to see you all. Age 38. Let me know also, do you feel time pressure? And this doesn't just apply for women in their 40s. This can happen at 35, even 30. I've heard women at age 32 feel like they're running out of time, which sounds weird to me because I had my children at 42 and 46. So I'm like, 32, you're a spring chicken. You got lots of time. But it's really something that is a subjective thing based on what our plans are for our future, what we've heard about our chances. All of these things can kick up our anxiety about how much time we have to grow our family. So I'm getting a lot of, yes, I do feel the time pressure. Age 40, age 45. Welcome, Emma from Argentina. All right, so I have just a quick checklist of things that I want you to keep in mind if you want to move efficiently along this path. And first thing I want to do is just give a quick plug for an event that I've got coming up next week. It's the 7-day TTC Chill Out Challenge. And this is my Power 7-day immersion in dialing down your stress. So if you're here with me during this middle week of April, please check it out. It's happening starting April 25th, and you do need to enroll by Friday, the 22nd. I'll come back to more of that later on, but that is my immersive course in my style of helping you dial down your stress. It only takes 20 minutes a day because I think that it's important that we have whatever we're doing for our fertility feel manageable, like you can fit it into your regular life. So that's coming up next week. I'll talk about that more at the end of this presentation. What I'm going to be doing today is going through 8 recommendations for things to do to help you move along efficiently, and 3 recommendations for things that I suggest that you not do because they might interfere with moving forward quickly, even though a lot of women will do these thinking that it's helping them speed up. I think these things might actually slow your process down. And I want to qualify what I mean by the faster track to pregnancy. Wouldn't it be nice if I could have entitled this the fast track to pregnancy? But I'm not going to lie to you. We don't know how much time it's going to take. Sometimes it is very fast. My first pregnancy, I was 41 years old, and it happened on the second cycle of trying. That was very fast. It's about as fast as it gets. The next one, not so fast. Much longer time to getting pregnant the first time. 2 miscarriages, that's months and months of setback, to finally our second child, who is now 6 years old, happy, healthy 6-year-old. And you don't know. So don't assume that it's going to take a long time. Don't assume that it's going to take a short time. We don't know. But I don't like to say fast track, but a faster. There's a faster way to move along, and there are things that might slow you down. Okay, so just setting some parameters there for what we're talking about. I'm not talking about miracles for a guaranteed fast track, but there are miracles that happen in terms of people did not think that based on the statistics, this was a possibility for you. And I see that happening all the time. I see it for myself, for others. So I like to keep your hopes up that we just don't know when this is going to happen. What we can do is line things up to get there as efficiently as possible. Now, one other thing I want to give you a heads up for logistics for those who are here live with me today. We're going to have a special live face-to-face chat Q&A in a Zoom meeting after this so that we can actually see each other. I usually do that Q&A on my YouTube live, but that ends up making a very long live session. And I like to be able to see you so I can engage with you directly that way. It's a little weird actually talking to a screen without seeing the people that I'm talking to. So I love it that the chat is lighting up with comments. Keep the comments coming. How old are you? Do you feel time pressure? Where in the world are you? I see a lot of my mid-40s, lovely ladies sending you lots of love. So many possibilities that many people do not see for you, but I do. Okay, so let's get right down to it. We're going to talk about 8 things to keep in mind when you want to move efficiently along this path. Number 1, I recommend that everyone track their cycle. Learn a simple method for tracking your whole cycle, not just when are you ovulating. That's an important thing to know. That's around the middle of your cycle. But learn a method of tracking the whole cycle. I recommend using an LH test strip to catch the LH surge that predicts ovulation, and also temperature charting throughout the cycle so you can see the rise of your temperature and the lowering of your temperature in the second half. I mean, the rise, the lower temperature in the first half and the rise that indicates that you have ovulated. And that helps you determine exactly when your ovulation happens and when your fertile window is. I have a free guide that you can download that explains all of that. It's in the description below. It's the TTC Essentials guide. And I made this guide a long time ago based on the things that I figured out to make it easy to track and inexpensive. You don't need fancy monitors. Getting digital monitors doesn't make you more able to track your window. You can do this with very simple testing. I actually think the simple, cheap test strips give you more information. I found that. So you don't need to break your bank testing for your fertile window and tracking your cycle. You don't need an overnight fertility monitor to measure your temperature. You can do it with a thermometer without even getting up at the same time every morning. So you'll see that in my TTC Essentials guide. I consider it like basic knowledge that everybody should have, every woman, when she's wanting to be efficient about getting pregnant and want to learn about her cycle. And it keeps surprising me that sometimes I see women who have been at this for years and actually have not been tracking their cycle. There's a lot that you can learn, and it doesn't have to be stressful if you learn how to do it in a non-stressful way. I recommend doing that even if you're going a medicated route where they're going to be tracking these things for you in between cycles. Go ahead and do that tracking, because there's a lot you can learn from tracking your cycle about your ovulation, your timing, and you even can discover different things about your health by tracking your temperature. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep these short here so we can get through this whole list quickly. There's so much I want to say about each one, but I'm going to try to keep it short. Let me know in the chat, what do you use to track your cycle? Do you feel confident about identifying your fertile window? This is the most basic thing. I don't want anybody to assume they're ovulating day 14 and aim for having intercourse days 12 through 14. I was ovulating on day 10 on my last pregnancies, and that was a successful pregnancy. So if I waited till day 12, Elvis had left the building, it was not going to work at that point. So do not make assumptions, learn how to track. It's not hard, it's not expensive. Number 2, I recommend getting assessments from multiple providers and building a team of providers who can help you understand where you are with your overall health, because there are so many things in your health that can impact your fertility. So if you're in a hurry, I don't recommend waiting a year and just seeing what happens. If you're not in a hurry, that's fine. But if you're in a hurry, don't wait a year, see what happens, and then start collecting information. The sooner you start learning about your optimal health alignment, the better, because then you can make the changes that are going to help bring you into the best fertile alignment. So this could include what most women think of is going to a fertility specialist to get fertility testing done. that can be really helpful. There are things that they can check for to see if there are things like, your fallopian tubes are blocked. It'll check your hormone levels. A lot of different things that they'll check that could be good to know. But don't stop there, because traditional fertility doctors look at one piece of the pie, and there are all different kinds of practitioners that may help you find out other things, like a functional medicine practitioner, functional nutritionist. They're looking at another set of tests that will identify things like your thyroid levels might be okay according to a traditional endocrinologist, but for fertility, they might say, okay, this isn't optimized enough. So I encourage you to consider all these different practitioners, acupuncturists, nutritionists, functional medicine doctors. They all have slightly different things they'll look at, and it can be a bit of an investment of time, energy, and money to get different kinds of testing done. But if you want to be efficient, it's better to do the testing earlier on to see if you can uncover things and bring your fertility into alignment, rather than waiting 6, 12, 18 months and then starting that testing. Included in my number 3 recommendation is to get sperm testing done, because it's so common that everybody assumes it's on the woman's side. And then sometimes, not that uncommon, actually, it turns out there are issues on the men's side. And many of these issues can be remedied pretty quickly through lifestyle changes, supplements, things like that. But if you don't know, you're not addressing it and you're losing time. So I encourage that. Let me know in the chat, have you been doing these things? Have you explored different kinds of assessments if you've been at this for a while? And yes, I'm seeing an osteopath and a specialist in neuroimmunology next week, Emma. Very good. So there are so many kinds of specialists out there. And as you explore more possibilities, what might go on for you, may find different specialists that you want to see. So go ahead and share in the chat different kinds of specialists, because I think there are so many and it's helpful to raise awareness. There's Emma's comment. Okay. I'm learning all the time from the women in my fertility coaching programs too, just all the different rocks we can turn over to learn more. So explore sperm testing. And I'm going to add in here a little note. And if you watch my video on sperm quality, which I've linked below, I believe I also talked about there are common parameters that are tested: sperm count, motility, mobility. There's another one that is often not tested unless someone insists on it or there's clearly some problems going on, and that's sperm defragmentation. And that has to do with how the DNA are aligning from the sperm. And for some reason, that's considered something that it's only done in specialized cases, and they often discourage because it's so expensive. And in reality, it costs about $300 or less. And if it turns out there's an issue there, wouldn't you have wanted to have spent a couple $100s to find that out? I don't get why that's considered expensive in this realm of all the fertility treatments that go on. So PSA, there's also something called sperm defragmentation that could be an issue, and your providers might go, why do you want us to test that? But if you want to be thorough, it's something to be aware of. Particularly in the case where there are conceptions happening and there are miscarriages, we tend to assume egg quality. Sometimes not egg quality, could be sperm quality as well. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4, clean up your health on all different levels. So sleep, nutrition, exercise, and these things take time. It's not just a snap to say, oh, I'm going to have a model healthy lifestyle, right? It takes time. Maybe you want to get a personal trainer. Maybe you want to work with a nutritionist around your nutritional plan. And these are things that I say, if you want to move efficiently, start these things early, because it gives your body time also to benefit from those changes. If you've been working on this for a year and all you've been doing is timing intercourse and getting stressed out every 2 weeks because you're waiting for the ovulation time and then you're testing on the 2-week wait, and that's what you're doing for 12 months, and then you start saying, okay, well, what else can I do? Now you've already got 12 months of TTC fatigue going on. So I say earlier you can invest in your healthy living, and getting whatever support is helpful for you, go ahead and invest in that in yourself. And that's a win-win, because any benefits for your health are good for you long-term anyway. Okay, that was number 4. Number 5 is lower your stress and bring your emotional health into balance. Okay, that obviously is not one you can snap your fingers, just go to a spa and you're done lowering your stress. That is a process, and that is a lot of what I offer in my programs, is an ongoing, in-depth process to help you with that. I also have a free downloadable guide. It's a stress reduction guide, which is in the description below. There's a link to that. You can download that and see my 8 categories of recommendations for techniques that I find helpful in reducing stress. And if you join my 7-day TTC Chill Out challenge, you're going to be guided through a lot of those practices. There are infinite ways that we can address stress reduction, and I share with you the ones that are my favorites and the ones that I've found most helpful in guiding others in my psychotherapy practice. I've been a psychotherapist for, over 20 years now. And I incorporate a lot of mind-body focus through the breathing, through gentle yoga postures. And I'm going to pull up this comment from Melissa. Reducing stress is easier said than done. And I will be the first one to agree with you on that. And this is why I have my extensive programs helping you step by step unravel the things that keep us tied up. And it's really kind of an art learning how to do that. And it's one of my greatest delights, really, when I see the women going through my program, especially those who go through my 7-day program and then go on to my next program. We have more and more weeks of practices that I guide them through. We just finished a sequence of 6 weeks of practices. We go 1 week on, 1 week off. So we just finished it, cover about 2 months. And the women who went all the way through, I can just see such incredible life-changing shifts for them. So I am going to second what you're saying, Melissa. It is easier said than done. And you want to find some kind of practices, support, and systems to help you along that practice. And don't feel like, oh, I'm just supposed to do it and know how. No, you don't know how. We all can use help. I can use help and reinforcement and guidance myself. It's very easy to get pulled into stress, especially on this journey. I know. I was kind of losing my mind as I was going through my fertility journey. I talk about that a lot in my other videos, so I won't delve into it now, but I get it. I get how tense making all this can be. Life in general, right? Life in general can be stressful. And then you put this fertility thing in with all the timelines on it, the time pressure, and wow, it can be really stressful. I know. All right. Lily says, done it all. This is the testing. Hormones, sperm count, DNA fragmentation, Ayurveda specialist. We'll pop this up so we can all see. Fertility immunologist, endocrinologist, Thrombophilia, found out a ton of things. MTHFR mutation increased NK, natural killer cells. Okay, so this is a really helpful example. Somebody, Lily, who has really gone through a huge amount of assessments. And those are not all things you're going to get in one-stop shopping. You're not going to go to a fertility clinic and they're going to do all of those for you. Those are things that I'm assuming she has pieced together through her own investigation and putting together a team. So Lily, I really hope that the things that you've learned from that are helping you move toward your goal here, and that, those are things that not everybody experiences. The MTHFR mutation, increased natural killer cells, things you've never even heard of until you start down this path. But they're all things that you want to know about if you've been trying to conceive for a while and it's not happening yet. There's so many possibilities beyond, know your fertile window, take some supplements, and don't stress out too much. There are many, many things worth knowing about. So that's why I encourage going through assessments piece by piece so that you can find out if there's something that you should find out about that you can address. Okay. So where are we? Track your cycle, get your assessments, include sperm testing, clean up your health as best you can over time, lower your stress. Okay, number 6, we've got 8 of these. Number 6, learn about egg health. Okay, so as we move past 35, this is when aging, it happens. If we're lucky enough to grow older, we get to age, and the mitochondria that fuel our cells start to wind down little by little, and then we see a number of aging processes happen. And if you learn about egg health, it's about sourcing those mitochondria so that you can have stronger development in your egg quality in the months before ovulation. I go into this in, there's a live stream on this channel that you can listen to. I did that a couple years ago. I did an updated workshop, my Improving Egg Quality workshop, where I really pack all that information in there so that you can learn quickly in a 90-minute workshop. That is linked below. I also have a free downloadable guide, 20 strategies for improving egg quality, where you can kind of get an overview of how I look at this and the very many things you can do. But if you're over 35, I really recommend understanding what we believe right now about egg quality, because there are a lot of people out there, including many of your providers, who are holding on to an older belief that egg quality just goes down and there's nothing you can do about it except try to get pregnant as fast as you can. I don't believe that to be the case based on my personal experience, what the research says, and what I've seen from many other women. So I think it's helpful to educate yourself, number one, so that you know what the many options might be to support better egg quality. And number two, so that you're not buying in to this fatalistic kind of outlook that, well, I guess I'm just doomed. You know, I'm 43, I have low AMH, I'm just doomed. They say I don't have enough eggs, my egg quality is poor. Bummer for me. I don't believe that to be a proper perspective. I think there's a lot of hope for improvement. So learn about egg health, and I have a lot of resources to help you with that. Number 7, create an inviting environment for your baby. I'll say that again because it was a tongue twister apparently. Create an inviting environment for your baby. Everything that we've talked about till now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 recommendations are kind of like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And that can create an energy of, go, 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 I got all these things I got to do. I like to also step back and work with notions and metaphors that help us pull everything together and simplify it so that we can exhale and not be so overwhelmed by everything. So this is a kind of a metaphorical image that I like to encourage women to hold, which is, what kind of environment would be inviting and welcoming for a new life to grow? You imagine that you have the spirit, the soul of a baby saying, okay, is my family ready for me? And that baby looks down and there's this hopeful mother to be like scurrying around, trying to do all these things. Oh my gosh, like that doesn't feel very inviting. And what if you just kind of simplified to, well, how can I make space in my heart, in my life, in my schedule, and create a nourishing environment that's going to be a happy space for a new life to grow? And sometimes that helps us let go of the scurry and intuitively identify some of the things that could be important for making space and finding our alignment. One of the things that I did before my first pregnancy, I mentioned earlier that one happened very quickly. I think I had that intuition the 6 months before we started trying to conceive. I had been running a yoga studio, a brick and mortar business in addition to my psychotherapy private practice. And it was kind of fun as an entrepreneur to see what I could grow, but it was also really busy making. It was kind of stressful having a business and staff and customers and all these things. And I checked in with myself when we decided, yes, we're going to go forward with trying to make a baby. And I was like, I don't know how I would run this business while raising a baby. And I sold the business, cleared out a whole bunch of space, made a whole bunch more space in my life, and got pregnant very quickly after that. And I look back, and that was the right decision to make. If I was able to get pregnant amidst all that, it would have been very challenging to be pregnant and to be a new mom with all that going on. So sometimes when we ask ourselves, what kind of environment would I want to invite my baby into, that can help us simplify our life, simplify our approach to our fertility, and just kind of come at it from a more heart-centered place instead of so analytical and reductionist, if you know what I mean. Any scientists in the group? Okay, so let me know, has your pursuit of getting pregnant tended to get in the way of creating that environment around you and within you that would be inviting for growing a new life? Give that a little thought. That was number 7. Number 8, in general, I recommend being minimalist with supplements. Don't give in to the frenetic, I'm just going to grab a bunch of things to put in my body because I'm desperately hoping this will make a difference. But be knowledgeable about anything that you choose to take, because some things aren't going to bring you into alignment. They're just going to drain your pocketbook. And some things actually might take you out of alignment. Do you know what you're taking and how it impacts you? And my very minimalist recommendation, now supplements is not my specialty, but I've done a lot of reading of the research on it. You'll see a special live session I did on that inside my Improving Egg Quality workshop. But my very basic recommendation is, just in general, is a prenatal vitamin with methylated folate rather than folic acid, because some women have, as somebody else, Lily mentioned, the MTHFR gene mutation, which is fairly common. I think 25% of women might have that, and you might not know about that. And if you have that, then you don't absorb folic acid in that form. You want methylated folate. So I say, why not just get the prenatal with methylated folate just in case? And then the other supplement that seems to get a lot of support for egg quality and the whole aging process in general is ubiquinol, which is a form of CoQ10. Ubiquinol is thought to be more readily absorbed as we get older. And typically the recommendations I see are 100 to 300 milligrams a day. If you're doing ubiquinol, it's twice the concentration as CoQ10. So if you see 600 milligrams of CoQ10, apparently that's 300 milligrams of ubiquinol. So kind of minimalist with supplements, unless you're working with somebody who can really inform you about what makes sense for your condition, or you're delving in to know that, oh, I have low this and I should take this. My vitamin D is low, so I'm going to take vitamin D supplements. Find out where you are and what supplements actually make sense for your system. Okay, so those are the top 8 recommendations to help you move along efficiently and to do these things sooner than later. Because like I said before, if many cycles are going by where you're just kind of hoping, or maybe you're sticking your head in the sand, that happens a lot too. I see with women that in my coaching program, it's very easy to avoid doing these things because you're afraid of what you might find out. And I'm just going to encourage you that you're going to be better off if you find out sooner if there's something that's off, because then you can address it, right? Have it be an empowering thing. Jacqueline is asking, can we also watch this again later? This will be available as soon as it's streamed to watch on replay. So yes, if you missed the beginning, you can go back and watch the beginning. And in a couple minutes, whoever's here live, if you want to hop over to a Zoom meeting with me where we can post-process and I'll answer your questions face-to-face, we're going to do that in just a couple minutes. Okay, Natalie Joy, I see. Lots of time pressure, just turned 42 months ago. Okay, yes. Okay, so there's lots of women in our group here who can relate to that. And happy birthday, 2 months later. We just don't know. There may be many years of fertility ahead for you. So I want to really encourage that outlook and to be proactive, to empower yourself with knowledge. Okay, I promised you I'd get to do. I'm so excited. I'm tripping over my words today. Slow down. Slow down. That's often my advice to you too, right? Get so excited, so urgent, and you're tripping over yourself. Don't trip over yourself. Pause and take a breath with me. 3 things that I recommend that you avoid doing if you want to be efficient on your way to getting pregnant. Number 1, don't freak out. Don't freak out. Don't assume that this is the end because somebody said blah, 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 blah. There's all kinds of things that people are going to say based on your age alone that can, strike you with the fear that this isn't going to happen. You don't know what the future holds. They don't know what the future holds. Your best bet is to invest in gaining knowledge, nourishing yourself, bringing things into alignment, and then wait and see. This story has not been told. So number 1, don't freak out because you think that you're at the end of a timeline. You don't know where you are with this. Number 2, don't let the statistics drive your choices, particularly when it comes to age and certain lab tests such as AMH. That's a hormone that is measured very commonly now for women who are going down the fertility path. And if you're in your 40s, it's almost certainly going to come up very low. And then a lot of practitioners are going to feed that data back to you to say, you don't have many eggs left and your eggs are low quality. That is not what that data means. And I am just going to keep shouting from my soapbox to learn what it actually means. You can watch my video here that I did a while back on low AMH and what the research actually tells us. It's very important to understand that if you're going to get that tested and somebody's going to tell you something that might not be accurate about what your numbers mean. My AMH was very, very low when I got pregnant multiple times in my mid-40s. So don't let the statistics drive your assumptions about what your future might look like, because you're an individual. And sometimes people are misinterpreting the statistics anyway. And the statistics, I can't talk today, statistics don't really tell you what is going to happen for you. It tells you based on a certain population of people whose data was collected in whatever way, what percentage had a positive outcome. But that doesn't really tell you what your best path is. So be very careful about how you consider statistics. And number 3, I don't recommend starting fertility treatments immediately just because you think you may be short on time because of your age. I think that there is a bias toward thinking that that is the extreme fast track to getting pregnant, but I don't actually think that is the case. I think that for some people, that's what makes a difference and that's what helps. And then for some people, it might actually move you backwards. It might actually throw things off for you. Some women do not respond well at all to the treatments. And so what I encourage is, don't avoid a fertility expert if you want to collect that data. They can give you information and maybe find some things that are issues, but they're probably going to tell you, just be prepared, they're probably going to tell you that your best chances are as if you hurry up and start treatments right away. And my suggestion is that if you do the other 8 things I talked about to help you along and give that time, you may be better prepared. If you do decide to do fertility treatments, you may be better prepared. Your body may be in better alignment for the fertility treatments to be more helpful to you. For example, they need to retrieve a good egg. Fertility treatment doesn't help you make a good egg. Bringing your system into alignments for several months is what helps with that. So the fertility centers typically don't encourage nourishing yourself and learning about yourself, improving your health before doing that, because their bias is that the sooner we do this, the better our chances. But I have my doubts about that. And I would suggest for most people, give yourself maybe 6 months to really nourish yourself, learn about yourself, do all of these assessments, trust that your body has a lot of potential, and see where that takes you. And you may get pregnant on your own before getting to fertility treatments. You've heard many of those stories, right? We were just waiting for a next cycle to start so we could start treatments, and that cycle never came. Sometimes just getting started with the treatment helps somebody let go of stress, and then they got pregnant. That's what it looks like anyway. You can access my video on trusting your body. It's a guided meditation that takes you on a hot air balloon ride to leave behind all the negativity, all the naysayers, and come into a space of hope and positivity. So I recommend doing these kinds of meditations to help shift your mindset so that you can move away from the fear and give your body time. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below so that you can see the many different free resources that I have for you. I pulled out several meditations that I thought I'd really like to be up front. There's inviting your baby for creating that warm, nurturing space to invite your baby into. I have a meditation on simplifying so you can kind of be more minimalist in what you're trying to do and trusting your body. And I have many educational videos like the low AMH and improving egg quality. And to summarize what we've just talked about, I told you 8 things to help you move along more quickly, 3 things to avoid because they might slow you down. And lastly, I want to kind of just pull out the main messages for you is to empower yourself with knowledge. Don't be afraid to learn and trust that you will be more powerful knowing these things so you can make choices to help bringing you into alignment. Don't give in to the negativity. Pay attention to who you're listening to. Listen to people who see hope and possibilities, and that will help push away some of the negative assumptions and develop a healthy lifestyle and a healthy attitude early in the process so that you're nourishing your system with the kind of energy that's going to help you come into fertile alignment. And coming up next week, I have my 7-day TTC Chill Out Challenge, which is a 7-day guided online program. It's really like an online retreat. All you need to set aside is 20 minutes a day. You can do it at any time that works in your schedule. You don't have to show up live. There's no Facebook group. I actually encourage disconnecting from social media, especially during that time, so that you're not bombarded with things that you're not choosing to be exposed to. And you will see comments coming up throughout the day during this retreat experience of women in your shoes who are, making it a priority to nourish themselves and experience these practices together. It is such an inspiring time. There are over 50 women signed up right now. We usually have anywhere from 100 to 200 women when we start. It's starting on Monday. You do need to sign up by Friday. I close the doors on Friday because I want to have the weekend to make sure that we're all lined up for a really smooth experience. So it's not chaotic like a lot of online challenges are. It's very deliberate and calming, and it's such a delight to guide women through this. If you've been through it before and you're here live, if you want to share, what was helpful for you about the 7-day TTC Chill Out Challenge experience, please feel free to chime in here. If you have questions about anything that we've just talked about, I'm going to take a moment to look at the chat here in just a second. If you know others who might be interested, please spread the word. We do have actually 3 tracks. We have one for fertility. We have a separate one for those who are pregnant and another one for general wellness for those who are not focusing on fertility or pregnancy at all. And that could even be your partner, friends, family. You'll see a link in the description below, Triple Chill Retreat Week. Main one I'm talking about right here is the fertility track. So what we're talking about here, when we talk about getting on a faster track, it's a little bit of a paradox because what we're really talking about is slow down to hurry up. And you'll see it sounds like a direct contradiction, but those 8 things that I was recommending doing are things that you can be proactive about, getting the testing done, improving your lifestyle, clearing out space in your life. And we want to be able to slow down and breathe as we go through that, so that all the while we're cultivating that energy of calm and expansiveness that tells our nervous system that we're not running from a lion, right? If you're pursuing your fertility pathway like this, your nervous system is like, whoa, not a good time to create a new life. You want to move along that path thoughtfully, wisely, efficiently, and keep that calm. And that is really what my 7-day chill out challenge is about, is showing you how you can keep trying to get pregnant, make those smart choices, identify your fertile window, make the best of each cycle, and find that ease, find that, connect with a community of others who are on the same page as you go through that. So we're going to hurry up and slow down. We're going to be doing that together for 7 days next week. And I'm going to pop over to the chat. And after I answer any questions that have come up here, we are actually going to pop off onto a live Zoom meeting for anybody who's here live. If you want to talk with me face to face and ask questions, and please let me know in the chat how this has resonated with you. Just scanning through here. Christina says, I've taken all the supplements after 3 miscarriages. I'm so sorry. And reading It Starts with the Egg, seeing a naturopathic doctor, still had 1 miscarriage and 2 unsuccessful IVFs, all due to abnormal genetics. Okay, I'm so sorry, Christina, for all that you've been through. And it's a hard thing to say that. Oh, great, there's another comment from you. I'm going to look. My IVF doctor never talked about anything mind-body related, hardly even saw him, and now is suggesting donor egg. I'm so glad I didn't jump on that right away and found you, Dr. Masson. Okay, so Christina, you are sort of the classic, following in my footsteps, where I was getting pregnant and I was having miscarriages. In my case, it was definitely due to egg quality because I had testing to prove that. And so I really went all in on nourishing myself, and that included the mind body. And what you're saying about your IVF doctor never talked about anything mind body related, that is par for the course. That's not their training. They're not trained in the mind body. And that's where my perspective as a psychologist, yes, I'm looking at the mind all the time and how that connects with the body. So the helpful news for you, Christina, is that you're seeing conception happen, and we're kind of isolating it down to egg quality. Also check sperm quality. Don't always assume, and the sperm defragmentation, which I mentioned earlier. But there are so many pathways, and if you haven't worked on the mind-body piece, and there's been stress on your system, chronic stress, which is very common when we've been on a long-term journey, you've been through X number of IVFs. Hello, that's not relaxing, right? That's stress on your system. So there's a lot that we can do. And I just talked to a woman on my fertility coaching call who went through an IVF cycle that didn't work out. She's new to my program. And she said, because of your tools, I was shocked at how calm I was through the IVF. And even after it didn't work out, I had one bad day. And then I picked myself up and I said, there's so much hope and possibility. I'm going to get ready for what lies ahead. And that to me was amazing. So going through these treatments doesn't have to mean that you're under chronic stress, but often that's what it looks like. So I also help women move through that with more ease so that you are keeping yourself in that better balance to be able to nurture stronger eggs and to be able to have a successful IVF outcome. Millie is asking, can we get pregnant when we are in perimenopause? As long as you are releasing eggs, there's a possibility of pregnancy, and that can happen during perimenopause. And occasionally we even hear it happen because perimenopause, menopause is like this gradual transition, and another egg could be released and that one could get fertilized. So yes, it's possible. And if you're in what would be called perimenopause and maybe your cycles have become more regular, your hormones are showing movement in that direction, I also encourage you to consider that It could be hormonal imbalance due to other things. And usually if you're in your 40s and you're seeing these changes, the doctors will say it must be perimenopause. But what if it's actually chronic stress and a thyroid condition, and that's what's throwing off your hormones, and nobody's treating that because they're just saying you must be in perimenopause? So I encourage doing all the testing to find out what else might be going on as well. Don't assume just because you're in your 40s and things are changing, don't assume that's perimenopause. And if it is perimenopause, I believe you probably could get more energy out of your system by bringing in everything into alignment and still improve your chances. And Melissa's saying, do you recommend seed cycling, essential oils, acupressure, or acupuncture? I think that any of these things could be helpful, and it's a matter of educating yourself about each modality, preferably working with somebody who has experience, who can guide you, and then monitoring to see if you're tracking your cycle, tracking your hormones, you might see evidence that things are changing for you. Any of these modalities are worth considering. Okay, Leah says, I'm ready to have a baby at age 43 after being a nanny most of my life. Only problem is I'm single now. Would it benefit for me to join the Chill Out Challenge in preparation for when the time comes? We have a whole variety of women in the program, all different approaches. And some women are pursuing motherhood solo by choice. And the idea of doing this as preparation, if you're hoping to open the door to that, I think that's absolutely a suitable possibility as well. I'm just kind of thinking through what's in the program and what it would look like if you're planning 6 months or a year or 2 years from now to be getting pregnant. And these are skills that apply really anywhere in your life anyway. So I'd say it's really a matter of up to you if you would enjoy being in a community of women who are on this path together, knowing that there's room for everybody and there are all different approaches women are taking to conceiving. And also, I have the general wellness version of the program, which is a smaller group of participation. It doesn't have the big energy of this one because this is the main one that I promote, but we're also running the general wellness option. So if you want to focus on the tools, the mind-body tools that I teach, but without putting it inside the context of trying to conceive, that is an option for you as well. Okay. Any other questions from those who are here with us live? If you want to share with me any of your takeaways from this time, I'm going to do a real quick run through our top 8, my top 8 recommendations for moving along quickly, efficiently toward getting pregnant is track your cycle, learn how to do that, have that be part of your knowledge base, get assessments from multiple providers, include sperm testing, develop healthy lifestyle practices, lower your stress, learn about egg health, create an inviting environment for your baby, and be minimalist and knowledgeable about supplements. Okay, ladies, there is a link for those who are here live in the description below. There is a link to a live Zoom session. I'm going to pop over there. Anybody who wants to talk face-to-face about anything that we talked about here or about specific programs that I offer. The 7-day TTC Chill Out Challenge is happening next week. You need to enroll by Friday, and that opens the door to my Conceive with Ease fertility coaching program, where we have much more support around mindset, around improving egg quality. We have a whole community of support. There's about 120 women in there right now, and it's just a very warm and supportive community. Okay, and I'm seeing other questions come up. Lily says, any further recommendations for improving egg quality on top of the supplements and food mentioned and it starts with the egg? Thank you for that question, because in my Improving Egg Quality workshop, that's the fastest way to get my full rundown on everything that I have concluded so far about improving egg quality. Plus, there are a whole bunch of bonuses in there that go beyond the basics. I do mention the book, It Starts with the Egg, and I would say that that book leaves a lot of things out. It touches on some specific things, but there are a lot of things that are left out. So I can't delve into that right here in the interest of time, but I encourage you to check out that workshop, or just download my 20 strategies. It's a free download that's linked here, and that'll give you sort of an overview of my thinking on this. Gabriella, I'm single looking for getting pregnant. I already did one artificial insemination without suggesting you recommend me your challenge. I was thinking about having another try with insemination soon. I would be lovely to have you along, Gabriella. I can never say what the experience is going to be for each person, but I see so much magic happening in there. And it's a relatively small commitment, 20 minutes a day for 7 days. And if you find that it didn't fit for you, just let me know if you want a refund. No hard feelings. I want it to be something that you feel not a lot of conflict about whether you want to sign up for it. Sign up and give it a try. See how it goes for you. Melissa says, I love that you recommended keeping it simple. In the Army, we have the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. I need to not overthink this and apply this method to this aspect of my life too. Yes, and do the simplify meditation that's on my channel here. I think that would be helpful to you. All right, so I'm going to hop off now. And if anybody who's here live wants to see me on the Zoom session, we're going to hop on over there next. Thanks, everybody, for your presence.